Okay.
Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. And today is episode already number 37. So for those who don't know me, my name is Gunnar and I ran 36 of these webinars in the past, but back then it was just by myself. And for the first time in relaunching the series, I'm doing this together with Natalie Tran. And of course, she will introduce herself as well. The topic today is how to use LinkedIn to transform your career. And that is the first of now a monthly series, and you can be curious about what the other topics will be. Next month's topic for sure is about how to use Canva with LinkedIn, and therefore also it's the first time for me to deliver slides, not in PowerPoint, not even in Google Slides, but I use Canva for the first time. I hope it's going well. Quick introduction about both ourselves. So first, by myself, my name is Gunnar. I'm a social media coach, a blogger, a published author. I published a couple of books beforehand. For those who would like to know a number, it's actually 26. And the book that is now here written on it with the title of Social Selling for Job Seekers is number 25. And that is the reason for this book that I've picked actually the topic for today, because I spent some time in between roles when it comes to job search. After a layoff I had in Switzerland, then I had 2 layoffs here in Australia. I came 8 years ago, and therefore I learned a little bit about that. I'm not a career coach, but I can show a bit from peer to peer what's working, especially when it comes to LinkedIn, because particularly in Australia, that this is the power tool to go. So that is quickly about myself. And now let's go further to yourself, Natalie.
Hello, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Natalie. Some of you might have seen me post a little bit about my podcast, and I've done one with Gunnar as well. You've missed that one, number 42. And there's a special number for Gunnar. But I'm a transition coach, a transition specialist. I started off in the corporate world in finance, and about 8-9 years ago, when I settled back into Melbourne, I was in sort of like a Wall Street kind of role. So when I settled back into Australia, I decided to become entrepreneurial. And it took me quite a few goes at it. And hence, it has become my mission to help others to transition much more smoothly than what I have. And since then, the opportunity of being an entrepreneur has given me the ability to be a podcast host, to co-author one book. And I have, for the last 2 or 3 years, started doing a lot of business coaching, as well as, of course, the career side of things, because that's where I started. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I actually got quite inspired by so many things that you have been doing in terms of transitioning. And thank you for being invited for this particular podcast with the number 42. My book actually has 42 double pages in a highly practical way. So therefore, this number is quite important. And some of you might even know that 42 is the answer to the question about the meaning of life. So now let's look into what we prepared for you today. It's basically 3 topics. First of all is about branding. The second about passion. And the third one, some activities. I try to add a couple of practical tips that you can do by yourself. And that is not always an easy thing, listening in front of a webinar and then do not know how you can note it down. So you will receive the slides within 12 hours of starting the webinar. And then you will have a little bit of more background. Possibly I add something to it, so where it's not so clear yet, depending on the discussion, that you can have some takeaways for that. What everyone here on the webinar also will receive is free chapter of this book. And that is actually first chapter. And then you can take something from it. But getting it further, so we go through these 3 topics. The first one by myself, the second passion by Natalie, and the third one in a kind of a combination, because Natalie knows so much about, and she's actually also a top voice from LinkedIn, recently recognized. In terms of housekeeping, please be so kind and stay muted, but use the chat after the chat window open, and we both have that. So it's good to get some kind of traction there and to get feedback. So you will receive slides and the recording. I will upload that. And then what I also would like to do is if you could pay attention so that at the end, we have actually 2 lucky door prizes. So one person will receive the book in a signed form, and Natalie also has 1 lucky door prize. So it makes sense to pay attention to get going. Wonderful. So 3 topics. The first one about how to create your personal brand as a career changer. And before we do that, I would like to ask you a question. Please feel so free and answer in the chat. How can you alternatively use LinkedIn for job search beyond just applying? What comes into your mind? How can you use LinkedIn for job search? And job search means inside the company, outside the company, transition to something else beyond just applying.
Got some good answers.
Seeking informational meetings, create outstanding profile. Yeah, that's good. Keep engaging. Jenko, Yolanta, referrals.
Yeah. Taiba said networking, and Despina said thought leadership. So all wonderful responses.
That's good. Exactly. So, and many of them, they help that we don't have to click on apply for a job, but rather we can flip the script so that the jobs come to us, kind of. But at least it supports this. Or when we are in competition with someone else. So that's a good one. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. So the typical job search activity, and sorry, in transitioning from PowerPoint to Canva slides, some of the images might be a bit blurry, but I will fix them in the slides as we go. The tricky thing, if we would like to apply for a job, is that there are so many of us. And therefore, companies, they use tools, what's often called ATS, application tracking systems. They can be worse or better, but first a machine sees the candidate before a human sees it. And that is not good, because we might not know exactly the criteria by which the machine will filter us in or out. And very often when we do this, we can utilize the jobs pages from the vendors, like here, Proofpoint, where I applied 1.5 years ago, or we can see it even on LinkedIn, but it's a similar thing. Typically, a machine sees it first, and that is missing the chance. Particularly those who are working in any type of customer role or sales role, we need to actually better prove that we are able to find out who is the right person in an organization we should talk to. And that human should see about us. And that is a tricky thing when we go the traditional way. So the more clever way here, I figured out there was a role at LinkedIn. I know a bit about LinkedIn as a strategic account manager back then for the sales solutions. Basically, how to sell Sales Navigator. Good one. So the approach would be to find, that was last year, I think September. And then I thought, okay, who do I know in the organization? Is there anyone who knows me already in advance well enough that they can basically help me opening doors? So these referrals are something that often goes quite well. The only thing, when we now see, oh, there's a role open, there's not enough time to make a business friendship with someone. So we need to have done that before. So the best way to start a proper network was maybe long ago. And the second best way, at least get started now. So referrals are the ideal salespeople, especially if they know, like, and trust you. Currently, I'm actually happy that I've been able to place some of my contacts into my company where I'm working at ActiveCampaign in email automation. And he's been chosen. That's very good. I'm very grateful that he now is my workmate. Love that. So that's a good one. But for these referrals, they need to know you in advance. And therefore, we need to have a network which might even include competitors or anyone else, because people are moving. Now another one, I call it here the smart approach. I figured out that there was someone called David who said that he now joined Okta. Okta is a software for logging into some software, single sign-on. And then I thought, hang on, Okta, number one, who would I know there? But then where or which seat did he vacate in order to go to Okta? Where did he come from? Not only for typical patterns to enrich my network, but also concrete. And he has been at CrowdStrike. Good. So I went at CrowdStrike. I know someone working over there and figured out if this role of him who just joined Okta was still available. And it was. So that's why I got in it, not only because I knew someone there, but using a trigger. The same I've done actually when I joined ActiveCampaign. Similar type of story. I knew who has been there before. I had a look where they went to, and combining this together, ask about a replacement that can help as well. So here, Despina, you write, activating a dormant network as well. Yes, in a transition. But in best case, not only when we need something, but we should check in also occasionally in between. When we don't need anything, but we read something about someone. So that would be very good. Very good. So what are actually employers looking for when we think about a full-time role? Not employed, but partially even there. So they're looking for someone who has maybe a similar background in that industry, not completely moving from an electrician towards a plumber, not directly going from marketing to sales without experience. So similar background, and ideally having a relevant network. Be known in the industry and knowing that, or maybe the territory or the product category, so that they can somehow prove that that there will be a good addition to it. So this type of subject matter expertise. So we saw this before in the chat, like thought leadership. Personally, I prefer the word subject matter expert because it sounds like doing, not just thinking. But if a thought leader is very good at articulating, they can help in advancing a kind of a category further. What they also would like to have every company, typically from an employee who has customer contacts, is how they can ignite a further following. So that is something what we call the create wow effect at ActiveCampaign. So that is important topic, ignite a following. So that when I say, oh, I move to that company, then I can soon have other eyes to the content. That's important. And number 6 is critical for those who can contribute to the culture of the organization. That is so important because somebody might fit well in terms of the facts, but maybe they don't click with the colleagues, they don't click with the hiring team, and that would not necessarily good. And number 7, of course, they should also bring further talent, and that is a very important topic as well, because that's what helps to have similar people coming in there so that overall it will be a good working environment. So how can we do all of that? There's one term which is called social selling, which comes from the enterprise sales world, and that combines a couple of things. And I will talk about that during the webinar today. So where's the place? And the place is LinkedIn. And funny enough, it doesn't load well. Let me try to refresh the screen because the purpose was of this particular, thank you, Canva, for doing that. For this particular slide, it would show the LinkedIn profile. Let me just get in this. I'm not sure, Natalie, if you had this occasionally, but let me just try to quickly unshare and share it again and refresh again so that we can see this properly. Sorry for that one. That is the advantage of PowerPoint because PowerPoint doesn't have that. But apparently when you work online, it sometimes can happen. Bear with me for a second so that I can check how that works. Because the slide initially has been there and it looked actually quite good in the research and in the trial beforehand. So getting back there. Second. That is the beauty of the live effect. You can try whatever you want.
Yeah.
Always there's something that happens.
Always good to be live.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, while Guna's doing that, just on that previous slide, I kind of summarized that into 3 things I ask my clients to think about when they are moving roles, there are three things that recruiters, hiring managers look for. Number one is, can you do the job? Will you do it? And do you fit in? Essentially those three. And they capture the culture, and I also get my clients to ask on their side, can I do the job? Will I do it? Will I do it with passion? Will I do it with commitment? Am I just parking myself there, right? And then, do I fit in? Which is a fit question. So I really encourage you to also do that from your side when you're applying.
Yeah, thank you for that. Really like that. And let me get back on the screen now. So it should come back soon and should actually go well. Please confirm that you can see that.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, lovely. So then that actually is my current LinkedIn profile from today. So I call it here the anatomy of the LinkedIn profile, which includes, let me go by the numbers. So the first thing I'm looking at, and this needs only 2 seconds to show that the LinkedIn profile is actually quite good. So first thing I see is the headline. And typically, most people still have role at company. But that's not what we define ourselves in. So there can be more to it. So I started here with a slogan, partnering with marketing agency for advanced email automation. And that first part about 60 characters is visible below every single comment that I'm doing. Then the role, of course, because I'm happy and proud at ActiveCampaign as senior partner manager. Then a couple of other keywords that make sense, and even published author, because that's I am. The second one is a profile photo, which should actually sit well. And you can see I put my own colors around that. It sits quite nice in there. The third is a background image. And the majority of those coming from corporate roles have nothing, so it looks gray. But here I've taken a banner that fits on mobile. It fits also on desktop, on both. And it shows what I'm basically doing in text on it. And even you can see that it looks like I like to speak somewhere. So these are the things what you can do in the background image. Of course, you can also take just kind of a photo of Sydney in my case, but would be wasted real estate. So use it wisely. Natalie, I will show yours later as well. So what else do we have? Then number 4, the location is an important topic as well. And what sits in there if you wanted to change that, there's also the industry. And the industry is something nobody sees except yourself. And it's important because content relevant to your industry or people suggested for that can come from that. And that is some tricky type of topic. So if somebody's changing, I moved from hardware to software. It's not that different, but it is different. Some other moves from maybe from the legal field into a sales role might be worth checking that as well. And that helps the right level of people will be connected. The 5th one here is a contact info. How often does that happen? I would like to connect with someone, refer them work even, and I figure out I do not have their email address. That's a missed chance. It's so easy to have another email address that you can use at least to be reachable. So sometimes I had to take another provider because I couldn't get the job done by the person who didn't have that. That was sad. Those in sales role would also add a phone number, but it doesn't have to be like this. Not everybody would like to declare this. On number 6, you can see at the top of LinkedIn, there's also the company and education. By default, you can have it there. You can also switch it off. For those who are in a situation where they do not want to show their company anymore because they might have left, they can skip both, and then the headline gets longer. That also a way. The number 7, that goes actually should be an arrow that goes up to my name. You can see there's 2 little icons. One of them is a verification. That is a little hook that works in Australia by checking passports. And it works in large companies like ActiveCampaign or before me with Hootsuite. That internally is a proof that I am real. That's good, not a scammer. But there's also the speaker icon you can see. and then there's written he and him. The speaker icon is the conversation feature where I will declare my name is Gunnar. And it's actually not Gunnar, but Gunnar. So that is a good feature for that one. And you see the pronouns he and him, which in some industries like in marketing is an important topic. What else do we have? Number 8 is a link. You can see there on my slide, view my newsletter. That is actually the link that I have on my profile. Natalie has a different one. I will show that as well. Basically a link where people can click on, and that's a great thing to showcase something, what we have to offer, whatever that might be. That's good as well. And number 9, I copied it to the top. That's a public profile URL. And that goes like this. Mine is simple, linkedin.com/in/Gunnar Habitz. If you don't change yours, it ends with a very cryptic selection of letters and digits that only LinkedIn knows how to compose them, but we can change it. Not easy to find, but if you click on your profile on this pencil icon that you can see below the right photo of me, then you can change that. It is not within that window, is it outside on the right, exactly where I copied that. And that is the main section that everyone sees. And the beauty is on LinkedIn, compared to a normal website, that everyone knows what is where, because it's standardized. So the better we comply, the better it actually is. And the easier it looks like our profile is complete. It's modern, and hopefully it's good. So let's get to the next one. I don't want you to read everything here, but it is just an example about the About section, formerly called the summary. It should be written in the first person, not in the third. Because if you introduce yourself somewhere, you also don't talk yourself in the third person. I always wanted to try it, but normally we say, I am, my name is, and that's what I'm doing. Please hold our help. And that can be a bit of a story. Shouldn't be longer than what I have, but it can also tell a story not about us, but first about them. So let me show you the example from Natalie. So as she is working for herself, for her own business, she's addressing the reader. She's addressing the person. And that is great. She's addressing those with the pain points. Are you also? Is it you? And then when you see, yeah, actually, yes. And that way it gets down and there's a bit more text coming. Addressing the reader, very good. It's like what a real writer would do, writing a book about it. You would like to get the page turning, and that is well done. Thank you, Natalie. So the next thing what we want to do is that someone can quickly see that wherever we are, we deliver value. Apparently we've done something good over there. So I put it here in 4 elements for myself for the role I had at Hootsuite. So I first declare what the company is doing. And even for a company like HP, where I spent 16 years, I would say in which part of HP, because not everyone is selling ink cartridges, obviously. Then I share the personal scope, what was my role about, and it's a past role, so I change the verbs into past tense. I add often examples so that it becomes kind of real and looks like concrete. Yes, I work with Adobe and Microsoft, large companies. And then the achievements, not the activities, but based on what I achieved. And the achievement ideally in the view of the reader, which would be here a hiring manager. So that would be a good one. There's a question or message from someone else there. High potential profile. Yeah, Natalie, you said that. I like that. Yeah, exactly. And even I would say the majority of people, they take that, what they have in the CV, and copy it here, but that is not the same. So LinkedIn is more conversational style compared to bullet point style. So you can add further things like an education, make it a bit more multimedia style. You can see here I added something for my advanced diploma, even with an image of that. I added further studies on that, and then the more social type of proof, I have my skills, which today are different sorted in the past, and even some kind of certifications. And then interesting, Despina, you say you have received guidance to have the profile in first person implied, which means I is removed. Experienced leader is, that means in third person. That was in the past. It's not anymore. It's not anymore. LinkedIn is a personal brand tool. It's not a CV tool. So it's a different thing. And the bad thing about that is we might be good, humble human beings instead of bragging salespeople. But here it's our time to shine and say how who we are. When we introduce ourselves, we do not go to someone and talk about ourselves in the third person either. So it's more directly addressing the reader. So as Natalie talks about them and then says what she is doing. I do this. I help them to achieve that. And that exactly makes sense. Yeah, and also you can build rapport quickly. That exactly is right. Thank you for that addition. Also for the question. So here's more social proof. I've done some volunteering, actually in India with Korean Ninja, master classes also in Australia, and I got then recommendations. Recommendations are so important because you cannot really fake them. Somebody need to basically vouch for that these exist. So that is an important topic as well. And very often we see people asking for recommendation when they need it. The best way is do it when you don't need it. Give someone else who needs it a recommendation. So one day they might also pay the favor back. But don't do it with every person you met for 5 minutes and ask them for that. It's not TripAdvisor. It should be a decent thing that someone can, in public, state what you are doing. That's important. Good. That was about personal branding. A couple of places how you can change, and you will receive that as well with a couple of examples. And I would like to hand over to the second topic about passion, how you turn your passion and vision into your future reality. Natalie, stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Gunnar. Some really good reminders. I know that a lot of us have probably practiced LinkedIn really well. And so it's always great to have some reminders of the anatomy of what a good profile is. In some ways, I'm taking you guys back a step, right? Before we create our branding, before we do all of that, is to think about, well, if you have passion, how do you actually make it a reality? A lot of people that come to me for help are those that say, I have this idea, Natalie, I don't know where to start, right? I love this, I've done this, I'm good at this. And so I take them back to the start again and to really think about themselves, come back within a little bit, right? Whether it's transition to a whole new business or is it a transition to a slightly different career? Thanks, Gunnar, for the next slide. So my question for you today is, what's the biggest dream you have for your future? And what's holding you back from pursuing it, if there is something? And it could even be something that you want to do creatively as well, right? That I've had so many cases where that has become a full-blown business for people. Would love to hear in the chat if there's anything you guys are working on, have thought about. Oh, I love Gunnar's one, yes. Had it for you, yeah. Not have a proper roadmap, Sanket, okay. Well, I might have a gift for you at the end. We won't give away too much. Yeah, Henry, awesome. Living my dream right now. Oh, love that, Jolanda. I love that. So you would definitely, so please chime in with any, advice or guidance as well that you have found as well. Wonderful. Love learning from everyone. Henry, awesome. Fantastic. All right. Thank you. Reconnecting with a local network. Yeah, that's one of mine too, Despina, to be a bit more active in the volunteering space as well and making impact there. Thank you so much. All right. Gunnar, next slide. So I'm taking you back to the first 4 steps that I sort of talk to people about in my program. And the first thing is to actually acknowledge where you are right now. And in doing that, you're also acknowledging the call for change if there is a desire. I often hear people talk about, I want to solve your problem. I want to solve your problem, right? Very bro marketing. If you don't know that term, it's like pain point. I want to go into your pain, squeeze it all out, right? Well, I ask people to think about what is your desired place or state, right? On one side, what you don't want, one side, what you do want, and acknowledge both. Because only then can you think about that decision that you're going to take control right now. It is under my control. A lot of people kind of go, I can't control it. I have to do this. I have to do that, right? It's a mindset shift, redefining what success looks like. I know when I was in finance, I got made executive director, and then I felt exactly the same the next day. I was climbing the ladder, aimed for that, wake up next day and go, this is it, right? So really important to define. Yeah, love that, Henry. Define what is it for yourself, right? And from that, from what that nice saying that I love is, you know, the difference between who you are and what you want to be is what you do. And that's what then sets off a chain of action for us. So the mindset shift, all of that. Okay, next slide. So with this one, I'm talking about, you know, thinking about your passion. I know that word gets thrown around a lot. Now, I definitely use that term. A lot of people go, oh, I don't want to use that term, not even in my LinkedIn. I'm passionate about it. It just sounds a little bit blah, 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 right? Well, I say to them, if you feel it, say it, express it. I had a lady in her LinkedIn express exactly that. I'm passionate about working for not-for-profit entities. And I said, why? She added in that paragraph. And from then, we flipped the script to being a lawyer, to being a CEO with a background in law. Can you see that? So it's very interesting how our passions lead us down the path. So many amazing examples. But I talk about thinking about in your interest, because passion is energy, as what Oprah is saying. I love her little quote there. There is power from focusing on what excites you, and where focus goes, energy flows, right? So experiment with your interests. If you want to get real world experience, do some volunteering or freelancing. Best way. If you wanted to go, I don't know, Natalie, and I said, go for it. It's a very low risk way. If you thought, I want it to be, you guys will laugh, a yoga teacher, that's exactly what I did. I started getting my certification and I freelanced the whole time, earned my money, and really learned how to build my brand as a fitness instructor, which I have zero experience in, by the way. But so everything I'm sharing with you today, I have done before. This is not theory. I also talk about networking new circles. The finance guys will only serve me a certain sort of way when you transition, right? You have to start attending events, workshops, meetups in your new world that you're exploring. I have a recent connection who lives in Geelong, and I said, attend every event you can. He did just that. And I think from that, 2 clients. Amazing, right? So networking new circles, whether it's geographical, whether it's industry, okay, but you need to step out of that old circle. Reflect on past experiences to find clues. What I mean by that is think about what intrigues you. If you went to a library or a bookshop, which sections do you go to, right? What topics captivate you? Like, well, I know when I walk into a library or bookshop, straight into personal development. I know, it's crazy. Or a bit of gardening, right? So it's really telling, okay? Those little clues are there. Got to tap into it, right? Tap into those. Identify what intrigues you, and then do a career wave line, which talks about, when you map out your career, if you have on the y-axis your satisfaction level, on the x-axis all of the roles you've been in, I want you to map out that career line from when you left uni. Maybe don't go too far back. Or from a graduate position, right? There's the part-time. And then what you do is you rate each job based on the level of satisfaction. And after you've done that, tell me the sources of dissatisfaction and satisfaction. The ones where you're dissatisfied with, avoid. At least you know. The ones they're satisfied with, let's dig in a bit deeper. Also review significant life experiences and moments that have shaped you, right? Like moving abroad, for example, living abroad, like, and Oguna saying, I've had, sort of like maybe some experiences of mine has led me to want to be in another country to work, for example, right? Go back to what made you happy as a child as well. So we go through everything in the program. We really have all these activities that do that. And then list what you help others with for free. Okay, that's a really simple one. Again, something you do so effortlessly that, others may find a bit hard, but you're like, that they always come to me for that. Why is that? Right? So it's really interesting as well. Reaching out to your circle for insights is about calling your best friend. I bet you if you called your best friends right now, they would tell you a few things that they thought that would get you that you get excited about, in a weird way, maybe, that energize you as well, okay? And then also to take a break and think big picture. That is, have a holiday, go for a big hike, do whatever it is from your, out of your day-to-day stuff, because it allows you to get that renewed sense of purpose from being time away from your regular routines, okay? Be amazing. Reflect and gather ideas is around meditating, around, working on letting your mind wander a little bit, all that kind of stuff. So those are the things we look at to ignite our passion. So number one, now you've built a library of things that you love doing, something you're good at, something people are already asking you about, and maybe the next step is something the market needs, which is, I guess, a whole nother step. But another one, you can see the diagram on the right. If you haven't done any personality tests, it's also a great idea to do a refresher, because we change over time. Most profile tests are stable, but not always. And we do change in different phases and seasons of our life. Thank you, Guna, for the next one. All right, this one, maybe it's my financial background, but when I work with my clients, I go to town with this one, right? I do talk about, yes, we don't want to quit right away and all of that, but we also don't want to throw spaghetti at a wall and go, well, when do I leave? 6 months, 12 months, 10 months, what is it, right? So, approximately 20% of Australians have less than 1,000 in savings. I know that's from a recent statistic. But what I mean by building a financial runway is to allow enough resources to sustain your new career or business. Okay, it's really important. And knowing things like metrics like savings, debt, net savings, monthly income, monthly expenses, savings rate, months of runway that you desire. Okay, I normally specify a minimum of 6 months worth of expenses saved to start a business, right? Minimum, okay? And I also suggest freelancing as a bridge, because it allows you many things, flexibility. You might start, as you ease out of your 9 to 5, maybe you can do a bit more freelancing, start to learn to build your brand and all of that. Okay, so that's really important. And then, it's a stepping stone. It is not the end goal. Okay, just like how I was teaching Pilates and yoga for 1.5 years as a bridging thing for myself while I built my coaching business. Okay, and it was still, and I got to network in a different area as well. Now, I'll give you an example. So if you, all those numbers there, right, you got to work out each of those, but by the time you work through those metrics, if you, for example, if your monthly living expenses comes up to $3,000 and you have $20,000 saved, you can theoretically go over 6 months without any income and without altering your lifestyle. Okay. And I have this massive calculation. It's not that hard, but we work out all of that you need. So for example, then if you think 2,500 is your monthly expenses by 12 is 30. If you've got net savings of 10, it brings it down to 20,000. And if you put it in terms of months, your financial runway of 20,000 divided by your savings rate, which says 2,000, then you need 10 months instead of 12 months. All right. Anyway, so those are the stuff that I work with my clients to really help them, you know, nut out how much time, all of that they need. And we spend a bit of time on it. Next one, Guna. Okay, so the next one is then the last thing I want to share with you guys, because there's definitely not enough time to go through the whole program that I've designed, but the next one is about having a strategy. I did a post tonight about that. You know, we don't want to throw spaghetti at a wall. Like, what does it mean? What are my non-negotiables or the absolute must-haves in my next chapter? So look at your core desires, right? What are they? What are your boundaries? What, you know, decide on what you won't compromise on. Visualize your ideal outcome. Create a vision board. All of that stuff, all right? So
that's good.
Yeah, all of that will help you. It's not just, you know, winging it, okay? We don't want to wing it because that leads to a lot of disasters most of the time, and we end up being a yo-yo when we try and wing it too much. And then identify, you know, again, go back to the gaps, the skill gaps, do another skill audit. Go back. Where do you need help with? Like, I was terrible at sales when I first started, right? Because I'm a finance person. I play with numbers and I do investments, right? I'm not a salesperson in my investment role. So I knew that gap and I just got good at it. Like, I learned and learned and learned because no one's coming to do it for you. If you want to sell something, you have to do it yourself, right? So identify all of that. And then I talk about making it bite-sized, okay? Make your dreams manageable. It's otherwise a giant mountain that we go, oh my God, what do I do tomorrow when I wake up? Right? Create a timeline, micro goals, break it down. Again, I help my clients with all of this. Think about, you know, when do we research? When do we need this? When do we stop researching? Because there are people that over-research and do nothing that heads them in the right direction as well, right? And then there are those that want to do their websites and all the marketing, but then don't really have the substance behind what they offer. Okay, so celebrating wins is another one. Include contingencies, adjust when you need. The next one is really important. Seek out your mentors and your allies. So all of us here are allies, right? We're all around. We all work on LinkedIn. We all have, you know, things that are in common around building our brand. So yeah, this could be an ally, because this could be a tribe. Find your tribe, communities of like-minded individuals. When I'm doing my podcast, I reach out to certain people that I think would be amazing to share their message that combined with mine would really help both of our audiences. Join a mentorship program. Gosh, I've done a few of those, right? So definitely. And Guna's written Building Relationships with Allies. But yeah, exactly. Amazing. And the last but not least, and probably the most important, is to transition without burnout. I've been burnt out, not nice, right? And when it gets embedded in your life while you're transitioning, that's when things just collapse, all right? So we want to ensure we check in on our mindset, backing yourself every day, looking after yourself. That means setting boundaries really well around what we are doing every day, being specific, stick to your hours. Don't let your transition eat into your downtime or family time. That's really important as well, okay? Because yes, we need to do extra, but we build our timeline, we build and be really happy with it. It's never done. Like Guna and I could be here till midnight and we still have work to do, right? But we have to set boundaries. Mindfulness and looking after yourself, which you hear on my podcast. I repeat myself always around self-care, scheduling it, regular breaks, exercise, relaxation, all of that. Because without your well-being, there's no career, there's no business. So those are just the ones that I wanted to share today, Gunnar.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Let me take quickly on the last sentence that you mentioned about well-being.
Yeah.
Normally you would think, and thank you, Mohamed, for the confirmation of receiving what she said. Normally, you would believe that, particularly in sales roles, in corporations, all about pressure and making numbers and bringing dollars. I read the first sales book which doesn't take that. Attraction Selling is a book which goes about the importance of sleep to be successful, the importance of music, to listen, to bring yourself in the mood, in the flow, in the zone, to get the best work. And I said it in some job interviews also here when I joined Active Campaign. Important topic for me to decide on the day what to do when is my own analytics, that I know when during the day I'm the best of doing what. I'm not good between 2 and 3 on maybe the most complicated things. Normally in the past, I would then walk around the screen around me. I would have calls with someone, maybe brainstorming on it. It's fine, but I would not want to have screen time. So then know when is the best time that you can do what type of work and put it in the calendar. It really helps.
Absolutely. And that little diagram on the right is the roadmap in Notion. So if you all would like that, please do let me know on LinkedIn so I know, and I can send that to you. So you can see there, on the right-hand side, I've created a Notion template so that you can just remind yourself of what to do.
Yeah, that's very nice. And not everyone, by the way, knows Notion as well as you do and I do, but it's a lovely tool to get something written there, very colorful, with lovely icons on it. Yeah, love that. Good, thank you, Natalie. So let's go into the third topic, activities, how to use LinkedIn for social selling activities as a job seeker. So assuming we already have an idea, we are in the zone, we know our values, and we know the direction we want to go. Let's face it, there might be 2 directions, one big here, but you already know maybe it goes also at another way, that you don't run into that one and only thing. But we have this, so then let's do what we can do. And I ask you a little question now. When is the last time you shared a post on LinkedIn which you wrote by yourself? For me, it was in the morning today. Yeah, Yolanda, today, I know, I saw that. Taiba, this evening. That's good.
Can I, without knowing everyone, is there anyone on here with the Top Voice badge in the audience?
The blue one or the yellow one?
The blue one.
No, I think it's yourself.
Because I want to share something. So, and this might be a clue, all right? And it's just on this question. They email you when you're a blue badge, right? And one of the things they said is, in order for you to hold this blue badge, you need to post original content. Now, isn't that a big clue?
Of course it is.
That is a massive clue. Not just that, twice a week minimum. So sometimes I read between the lines when I receive emails from LinkedIn. So when I help my clients, I go, okay, so what are we posting today?
Yeah, Yolanda, you have the orange top voice, top life coaching voice, like I have top social selling voice. These are the ones that come into being because you contribute to collaborative articles that LinkedIn creates, and you do something for that. So that's very good. Thank you for this. And I'm doing as well for social selling, but Natalie got the blue one, which doesn't require her to have hundreds of thousands of followers. Not at all. But to be
they don't really tell you the criteria.
No, they don't.
But the clues I'm getting is that you have a certain topic or number of topics that you talk about frequently that you really believe in. And mine is transitioning, right? That they can see that, hence the word top voice, and that you use a lot of their features, as in LinkedIn's features.
Of course, you're a good customer.
Right? Yeah. So if they say video, go do video, right? So
Lovely.
it's a bit like that. There's no criteria, but I'm guessing that. I'm always reading between the lines. And, you know, they sometimes email you and they said that to me. You have to post a minimum of twice a week original content. So I think original content really is prioritized.
Yeah, and I will give a couple of examples that we can do as job seekers as well. So let me get further. So I mentioned the term of social selling. So let me reveal what that actually means in my definition. Everyone has another one. For me, it is a clever approach of using social media and digital tools to enhance business conversation. So clever social digital conversation. That's what we want to do. We are not only on LinkedIn, we're also using a couple of other things and tools. AI has so many these days, and it's all about conversations, because only then, when we can talk with someone, they can have an impression of who we are, what we want, how we can help them. And that's an important topic. And that's how I defined it in my two LinkedIn books. Third one in November, fourth one in February, but it's two. Important number for later. So I put social selling in 4 steps, and I built it based out of Lego. I won my first contest with Lego bricks with the age of 6. That was awesome. It was also the last time I won, but I never give up. So I like to play it. So take it like this. The complete step is the first one. You complete your profile. You have heard a couple of minutes ago what all belongs to it to make it really good. Therefore, it's a longer one. It's a bit of a process to make that happen, but then it's done. That's the first one. And then your profile looks good, like yours, Natalie. And here you even see also one thing, your blue Top Voice logo. That's where I have, and Jolanta, we have the orange one. We also see that you have a photo inside the banner with yourself, and you show to the text that you have. You use the image as a combination of visuals and text. Very well done. On the right-hand side from your golden LinkedIn logo, there is the bell that I ask everyone to follow her or connect with her and put the bell on. So this means that you receive a notification that she has original content on. And you also have there in bold at the bottom, join Power Up Early Bird Offer. We talk about that later, but this is when it looks on the first view like this. Wonderful, very good. That is step 1. Step 2 is about connecting with people. And that is something that is not always easy for professionals. They ask, but who should I connect and why should I do it? I don't want anything from them. But the space in LinkedIn gets more and more also collaborative. It makes actually sense. It's good. And then we can connect properly with a personalized message. I'm a fan of adding a message because I don't go and take a business card to someone walking on the street out of the context. Makes no sense. So therefore, it's more like this, that I add something. So in this example, for one guy called Joseph, I wrote something. It's a Bright Talk, and I added this in. I have about 12 templates that I can use and choose from, but I'm actually faster writing it directly. And I'm a fan of that, making that really personal. The thing is that many don't see that they can do it on the mobile phone and the smartphone app, but they can. So there's a little button. You see there's connect. I don't do, because after connect only comes the connection request is sent. I would maybe do it when I'm standing in front of someone and do not want to look at the screen and talking a long time. It's not very friendly, but then I would do it afterwards when they accept it. But here, if you click on the 3 dots right from the word message in the example where the arrows are going, you click there, then you get a menu which tells you personalize invite, and then you can do it. So why do I want this? And I well even know that some top C-suite big guys in the world would not even want that. You can connect to the CEO of someone if they accept you. even without a message. But normally we do it for two reasons. Number one is respect. I would like to have something personal. I want to show that I research about them. I would say to someone, let me pick someone here from the call. I would say, Peter Doe. I would have said, and I hope I've done it, Peter, that good to meet you at Open Coffee Sydney, where we're both volunteering in the group together with Raghav and with Robin. It's great to be together, and let's see you next week, Wednesday, and also let's connect as well. So something personal. So that's one is respect. Number two, and most don't know that, LinkedIn messaging is a total underrated search engine. Search engine in the sense of, if I plant words in the first message that I know I will research for or search for later, then it will find it. So if I only say we met at that event, it's not enough. But maybe we met at that event, whatever it's called, talking about that one, then that's helpful, because the older we get, we might still remember a situation, but we might lose the name of a person. And you cannot search for a face yet. So therefore, that's what I'm doing. Then I know when I go to an event and I met, or even a webinar, and then I met Jolanta, for example. Yeah, Jolanta, you came to my workshop last year about creating online courses. Then I would connect based on this one. Thank you for coming to the workshop, talking about online courses. And I also have other architects in my network. So then I would think Jolanta, architect, workshop. And later, in case I would not know her name, I can type this in and her profile appears. Plant your future search in your initial message. That's the thing. So that's my approach to that one. So third step is content. And Natalie, you mentioned it, original content is all what it's all about. So then the first step to do this, when we do not know how to do it, and that is to comment on someone else. And Jolanta, you are very kind to comment on some of my posts, and I try to also do on yours when I see them as well. But please, let's not do it on the left side of the screen. Great tips. Where, by the way, that gentleman is not doing himself; it's his assistant doing that. I prefer on the right-hand side, where Sue gave a decent response of 5 lines. Using LinkedIn well, you learn how to type fast. Give value in the comments. Show who you are, what you can say. We have someone here, also some experts in their fields. For example, Tim, you know so much in your field of email marketing and digital marketing in general. You can surely add great comments, and I'm happy to see that you started doing this, because that way it gives a picture about you. Another one also here who we have, Groovy. I see you're also good in commenting. I'm happy that I met you as well. And sometimes you find then people again, and you make yourself a kind of a perception who they are. It comes from commenting. When I see that Dick Lamb is here, I attended a career discussion with him 8 years ago. And now he's all about presenting, and back then all about careers, and he had his meetup group. And the picture is framing based on the content he created, not only the discussion that we've had. And that's what it's all about. Commenting helps to find the voice. Then, if you want to post something, don't do just a kind of employee post like here, my former workmate Kieran. He took a post from his company and reposted it. Doesn't have any value. Not for him at all. Makes no sense. No engagement. And all of the numbers like impressions, comments, likes goes to the company, not to him. It looks like he's asked to do that. Not good. I try the different way and always create something by myself, starting with a question, any type of hook, and get further. And if you don't know, take your post you want to write, put it in ChatGPT and say, can you add me 5 hook lines for the beginning that it looks good in the style of whatever. And it's awesome. You would like to be seen as a subject matter expert. Doesn't work if you only forward what the company has done. Original content makes sense. But what can you write about? Particularly in job search. And I've been in between my roles for quite a while. I thought, should I stop posting? No, not at all. You can announce your availability, particularly in layoffs. That's what I've done 22. I didn't apply. I got companies knocking at the door. It was a good time in the market. And that way it worked. Then I can share what I learned in my role. That if you follow me, that's what I'm doing every week. I can talk about the challenges that are around there, and I can take it for the reader so that they know what's going on in that particular field. In my case, about email automation. Of course, there's a couple of things that are worth talking, like personalization or deliverability or combining with AI. There's so many things which the profession has, or challenges in the sense of macroeconomical, what does it mean? You can share a lot of things. Understanding the customer problems, you can share success stories, but not in the sense of I sold that big deal, but rather what your client's reception of the work is, because they will do something with it. And I sold a larger deal to Cochlear, the hearing implant from Australia. Then I wouldn't share about I made that 6-figure deal, but rather what that organization can deliver for their clients with my humble help. So that's a better approach to this one. I can even a lot about talk about industry events or webinars like this one, where I'm attending and share about that. I shout out to others and say, hey, this person has done a great job. I actually do this in a funny way these days. I meet people sometimes for coffee and I talk about it, called 42 Coffees. Natalie, that's why your episode, you and I, that we had is also number 42. So there's so many ways what you can write as nice posts about it. And the way what you can also figure that out what to post by observing others who are active and seeing the reception of that. That makes sense. You can even recommend podcasts like Transition with Purpose or any books. You can get eyes to yourself. And then it's not about bragging, but more about you share that you are learning, you share you're part of your industry, your geography, you know about what's going on, and it helps to connect with people. I very often have leads in the comments, and then my sales team says, oh, they would like to have our software. Awesome, thank you. Wouldn't come without that. But there's 4 steps. And the 4th one is convert. You can see these 3 steps: connect, content, convert. They're a bit longer, but they fit nicely together. After this, you do another: connect, content, convert, all the time. And after half year, maybe you do a red one. So what else do we have? I would introduce you to the way of utilizing LinkedIn messaging, surprisingly, with voice, like you would do on WhatsApp, or with a video that most of us don't do. Try it. There is no better way to simulate how it is to be with yourself in the same room than using video. And that's easy. On the LinkedIn app, not on desktop, you have the button with the microphone, hold the message for 60 seconds max. That's your message. Already exists for 6 years. For the video, you click on that sign on the left, and you can have a video up to 2 minutes. It's a surprising way for many people to pay attention. Very good. So, but how can we put it together? Do we have the time for doing LinkedIn? Big question. Still in corporate sales, many believe that that comes extra. But we know that working emails is normal part of it. So this is also part of normal. So I would put 30 minutes per day. That should be enough. No need for more. Natalie, how long do you have on LinkedIn? How long do you need?
How long do you need on LinkedIn?
Yeah, per day.
Per day. Okay. I actually have, because I try and block time for myself. And I ensure that for me, probably about 45 minutes.
Good.
And when
That's
I'm
good.
launching something, probably a little bit more. So there's a little bit of a sort of like a grading effect. But yeah, definitely when I come into the platform, what I normally do is I start engaging first before you post, before you do anything like that. Just engage, right? 10 minutes, the clock is on, right? And you surprise yourself how fast you go. The more you do it, the better you get. And what Bruno was saying, commenting on others, 10 minutes, even if you do 5, say 2 minutes on each, that should be pretty good. Like your messages should be pretty good. The other thing is when you comment, another tip that I want to share is comment for your audience.
Mm-hmm.
So Gunnar talks about, I don't know, he talks about many things, but we're probably pretty much on the same page as well. But he talks about, say personal branding. I would acknowledge what he said in his post, and then I would put a sentence or something around what personal branding does for you when you transition. You see what I'm getting at? So then it's almost like you're doing content. It's like a little mini post for yourself and for your audience. So people that go, oh, actually, I'm in the middle of transitioning. Who's this? And they'll check out your profile. Okay, so when you're commenting for the author, but also for your own audience. That's a really good tip as well.
Yeah, because they will see it the more you comment on it, and that can add more eyes to it. Good one.
Yeah. So 10 minutes before I post or anything. Once you post, don't ghost. Stay on because people want to interact with you after you've posted, and then hang around a little bit more. And then there's other pockets of time where I just go in to just have a look to see what my peers and my clients are doing, for example. So very deliberate. And you can do this by setting the members on the homepage. You can find the members, and if you're on the desktop only, you can look at the members and you add them onto that list. So when you go back to your browser and you click on that browser, then you just go through those members. So I'll say if I had 5 or 6 clients, I would pretty much book them into my browser, and then I would then put down what have they done in the last 24 hours, and it'll just go through those. And then I know that I've done my 5 or 6 straight and clients are done.
Yeah, very targeted. I like that.
Instead of like scrolling and haphazardly commenting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so we should not treat these, in my view, 30 minutes, yours is 45, maybe mine surely as well, if not 60. We shouldn't treat this like zapping through the TV or scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, but be mindful of the time. When I learned social selling, I got also the stopwatch from my coach who said, now you have 30 minutes and you do these and these and these tasks, and then you get points. And I actually have made it quite a while. So if I put the 30 minutes into an inbound and outbound, of course, there's certain things that you can see in terms of messaging that if there's something important, go to it. And in LinkedIn messaging, you can star a message like in Gmail. That's quite nice. And then you go through your connection request. You can check on comments of your own post if somebody commented on it. And you can also react on triggers like a birthday or changes. Particular changes are good to see, that person moved, they're not there anymore. Make yourself a note of it, that you know that there might be something free. This type of domino play. And check also for those who have premium, who viewed your profile. If you don't have LinkedIn Premium, you only see 5 people. If you have premium, you see backwards, at least 30 days, if not the whole year. In terms of outbound, of course, you can send messages. Try voice and video, it's a good one. You can invite suitable professionals to your network in the way how I described that, and select wisely and a good mix between wide and deep, because you do not need to have everyone on it, but you need to find people who also have a larger network, or they are a good bridge towards the right target audience you would like to have. Commenting as well, I agree with Natalie, you first engage with others, you comment on posts of others, not just anyone, not just those in your feed, but be mindful of who it makes sense to comment. When I comment on a post from Jolanta, the likelihood that she sees my content where I appreciate her comments is of course there. Writing your own material, it takes maybe 10 minutes to write a post. For me now, in the past beginning, maybe 30. That is another story. And then there's a term called listening. Figure out what's going on in target companies very wisely. You might find out that that happened to me, that an HR leader of Cochlear, the company I mentioned, spoke at an event at the University of Technology in Sydney, UTS. I wanted to talk to her because I thought, as high up as she was, she knows the procurement director. So I needed him to sign something, that big deal I spoke about. But imagine you would be in a career change approach, finding someone of that, let's say, either talent team, hiring team, or around that, and figuring out they're speaking somewhere is a good idea to get yourself known. And a failure of this, I can tell you as well, I went to a pitch night from Fishburners here in Sydney, where startups are talking. And there was a country manager of one company called Vanta, compliance software for cybersecurity and so on. And I didn't get that job beforehand. So what? But then this country manager has been a panelist. So I simply went to him and spoke to him. And he said, "Oh, you should have come to me earlier. I would have put a good notice to it." I missed that. That was wrong. At the end, I'm happy because now I'm in the right place. But from a process point of view, try to find these moments. So 30 minutes per day, not every day looks the same, but it's worth doing. And you will see your network is growing, not just by the number, but with good contacts that you need. So what can we actually do? So summarizing this kind of together. So what I would like to say that number one, everyone who attends receives the free chapter of the book, Social Selling for Job Seekers, that's for sure. And if you would like to order a signed copy by myself, then this is a link, socialsellingforjobseekers.com, on where it's possible to order. I sign them and I then send them either within Australia, even overseas. It's all possible. And if you only would like to take the Kindle version, you can do that as well. But there's one trick. I also said that I would have one lucky draw prize of one book, and therefore I will ask a question. I do hope that I will receive a good answer. And Natalie, you not, but anyone else. So the question, I type it in.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the chat box.
So the question is, how many books about LinkedIn? Dick, not 42. How many books about LinkedIn did I publish so far? Yeah, Dick, not so many. That's funny, but Jolanta is right. Jolanta was the first.
All right, we'll take a final number from you, Dick. What is it? We're going to take
it's two. It's two. And okay. Dick, for you, you will see we are more than two. So let's say like this. Look at the image. The first one is Connect and Act. That's her T-shirt, and then she's reading the book Social Selling for Job Seekers. The third one should come in November, which will be called LinkedIn for Startups, and next year LinkedIn for Writers. They're all quite similar, but about 30 pages are different. And the good thing in Social Selling for Job Seekers, there's even a half page from Natalie. Thank you for that.
Oh, awesome.
Congrats, Jolanta. Very fast. Good on. So that was my part to it. So Natalie, yours. What do you have news?
All right. So I am currently in launch mode. I have created a mastermind where you are with, and I'm keeping it fairly small, and I do it by geographic as well. If I get, some from different parts of the world, so their time zoning is a little bit better. But it's literally a very high touch 3-month program where I help you to learn how to transition out of your 9 to 5 into the business of your dreams. By dreams, I mean a business that aligns with you and what you want, all the stuff we talked about earlier, and to get a taste of earning your first 10K. All right. Could be a little bit less, and may not hit exactly 10K, right? But yeah. And there are 6 live calls and 4 implementation workshops on this. And we go through 3 phases, as you can see there. The first one's around all that clarity, the foundations and all of that. And then some validation around testing it out, how to position yourself in the market, niching, targeting the audience, all of those wonderful things that we do when we have our own thing. And then the last phase is pretty much the content, the selling, the marketing, all that kind of stuff. So generating leads and converting that little beautiful Lego pieces that Gunnar put together before. So that is what I'm running. It has been open. The early bird, I think, has come and gone. And the early bird, I had it at 40% off plus an hour with me for free. That's all gone now. But today, I am happy to provide that offer again. And you don't have to do the course, but you can have an hour with me and I can do your profile audit for you or strategy, depending on what your goals are. Okay. So do I need a question to ask? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me just ask. So, okay. What was the bridging role that I did while I was setting up my coaching business? What industry was that? Oh, decided early for this one. It is yoga wellness. Oh, there you go.
Hey, Dick, now you made it. Well done.
All right. Well, thank you. And it's up to you if you want to take that up for me to do a bit of a profile audit with you. Be more than happy and see how much we cover in an hour. Beer yoga.
Good one.
I don't know what that is. What is beer yoga? As a teacher, I'll have to ask that, right? What is beer yoga?
That is a very original Dick Lamb response.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, as a teacher, I won't endorse that. If you put that in your profile, I don't know what that is. No, I'm joking.
Good one. Thank you. Really like
Thank
that. That's a good one. And there's also another resource that we have, and that is how to optimize the LinkedIn profile playbook and checklist. So that is a good way of what I started at the beginning. I showed on the slide where all the different ways of the LinkedIn profile can look like, what you need to pay attention to. And initially, I thought one day I will write it, but here we have it. It's already there, and there's a link. I'll put it also in the email that you get. You can just get this LinkedIn playbook from Natalie.
It's just a Notion download. Okay.
That's fine.
So it's great because if I edit anything, if just say LinkedIn updates anything, then if I update my Notion, you guys will get the updated version. So unlike the PDFs, which may end up being a little bit, how do I say, like then if you update something, then the whole thing has to be PDF'd again and has to be sent out again, So Notion's a great way for me to sort of like, oh, LinkedIn changed that. I will edit that. And then you guys will just have it new when I update things. Okay. That's why I use that. Thank you so much.
I like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.
Any further questions from anyone on anything? Doesn't look like.
Greetings to you all. Gunnar, I have a question.
Yes, please.
When it comes to connecting with people with especially personalized messages, now LinkedIn has put a limit on it.
In terms of the length, yes, it was 300
in a whole month.
Yeah. So
what do I have to do to expand it? Buy
premium for 30 days for free. So the premium
Okay.
users have the longer length, which I think was about 300 characters. And the free version got reduced earlier this year to maybe 200. So it means you need to be really crisp on the way of what you can put out there. Not too much of polite, how are you, nice to meet you, all of this. Don't do that. And that way it would do. Yeah,
Okay.
but otherwise use premium for a while.
Another one is that when you post something and people likes it, or people like it, and you want to engage them, do you go to their main inbox to reach out to them, or there is a way you can do it right at where they have liked your post?
How you mean?
What I mean is that, you know, sometimes people will like you post something and they like it. So you see that they like it. If you want to appreciate them for liking it, do you have to go to where you normally send a message to them, or you can do it right away over there?
I would actually right click on my browser to see who they are. First, figure out if I really would like to send them a message or something like this, and then I do it. The tricky thing is you cannot send a direct message without being connected unless they have the golden LinkedIn logo, that they have an open profile like I have, or you are with them in a group, in a LinkedIn group. So normally it would not be the case. But you can simply, you do the flip the script, comment on them liking. Do something like this, tag them in something, entice them that they invite you. Make a pull out of a push. That would do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good one. Good one. So thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you for that, Natalie, especially also for all your preparations and the webinar that we had together. Sorry, the podcast we had together. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight and all for your beautiful engagement. And yeah, stay connected.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.